Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today we are talking about my most anticipated releases for the second half of 2025. I always like to split my anticipated releases lists into the first half and the second half, just because so many things get announced or just more details for the second half of the year as the year goes on. So we're here to talk about books coming out July through December, although I don't think I have any that are actually coming out in December. I think it's July through November. But 2025 continues to have some great releases coming out that I am so excited for, so looking forward to. I am going to talk about them loosely in publication order. I will put on the screen which month each of these is set to be published as of right now. I am going to be reading some of these descriptions off of my computer because I haven't read these books yet. I don't know too much about them, but also I don't want to know too much about them. I kind of, I want to go in with not too much information, so I may not really read descriptions for all of them. All right, so first up, starting in July, one of my most anticipated releases is Dreams of Chaos by Shauna Lawless. This is another companion novella to her Gale Song trilogy. The Gale Song trilogy was one of my favorite things that I read last year. I mean, it's Celtic historical fantasy, which is truly like my peak niche, like my favorite niche to read. So it was pretty perfect for me. And it had a character who was a healer, which like we all know I love. So loved that series, and I have read the other novellas in this series and they are fantastic. These are really some of the best companion novellas that I have read for a series because I feel like they are truly worth reading. They are really well written. They are also like, they add so much to the context and character of the rest of the series that they are really worth it to read. So just really excited to have another installment in this series and another novella to read. Also in July is The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a companion sequel to The Spell Shop, which I read last year and enjoyed. It's a very cute, cozy fantasy, but a cozy fantasy that I felt like it really balanced like just enough plot and stakes and relationship dynamics to keep it engaging. Sometimes I find things that fall under cozy fantasy are too plotless, too low stakes, that I just end up being bored. But this was a cozy fantasy that I just feel like balanced all of the elements really well. Anyways, I'm really excited to read the next one, The Enchanted Greenhouse, which is about a character that was briefly mentioned in the first book. In the first one, the main character has not exactly an animal companion, it's a botanical companion, which is a sentient spider plant. And we hear a little bit about kind of his origin story and the person who created him. And this is, I think, her story, or continuing on. I don't think this is the backstory, but I think this is kind of following that character later on, which is exciting. I think I only have one release for August, which is Bodacas Daughter by Elodie Harper. And I'm interested in this for a few reasons. Again, it's Celtic historical fiction, which is very much my niche, but also I have become more interested in Boudica as a character because I was reading I'm still reading the series by Amanda Scott. I've read the first two, I have to finish the second two, but that has kind of sparked my interest in other retellings of her story. Also, Elodie Harper is an author that I have been meaning to read for so long. Her series, The Wolf Den, is like on my TBR for this year. I need to get to it in the second half of the year. The first book is like on my list of top 10 books or top 5 books to read this year. Anyway, I'm interested in this author. So I am very intrigued by this. I do think that I probably will want to read The Wolf Den, at least the first book, if not read the full trilogy before starting another book from this author, because I already own the first The Wolf Den, and so I should probably see if I like her writing and everything before buying another book from her. On to September. So first up, there's a book that I'm not sure if this is coming out in 2025 or 2026, but I'm gonna mention it, which is Espiritu by Aidan Thomas. This is a sequel to Cemetery Boys, which I believe is told from Julian's perspective, but on Goodreads, some editions say September 2026 and some say September 2025. So I'm not sure when it's coming out. It might be 2026, but I'm gonna mention it here in case it is 2025. Regardless, whenever it comes out, I am going to read it. I'll probably do the audiobook for this because that's what I did for the first book and I really liked the audiobook. But very much looking forward to this. I loved Cemetery Boys. I love the characters. Also in September is The Summer War by Naomi Novik. I think this might be a novella, not like a full-length novel, but I am excited to have something new from her that is not in the Scholomance series, because that series just like never really sounded like it was really my thing. But I love Spinning Silver and Uprooted, so I like some of her stuff. So I'm always intrigued by her releases, but briefly it says, in this poignant, heartfelt novella, a young witch who has inadvertently cursed her brother to live a life without love must find a way to undo her spell. Which, that sounds interesting, and also I really like the cover. It looks like it's like a sword mixed with a lute, which I love. I forgot to add The Fairy Morana by Louisa Morgan. This is, I believe, a standalone Arthurian retelling or reimagining of the character Morgan Le Fay. Last year, I read Morgan Is My Name by Sophie Keach, which is also a retelling or reimagining of Morgan Le Fay's story, and it was one of my favorite books that I read last year. So that does make me very interested in another retelling of Morgan Le Fay's character. I have read another book from this author, which was A Secret History of Witches, many years ago, and I didn't love it. So I'm not quite sure how excited to be about this one, and as always, Arthurian retellings can be a little hit or miss for me, so I am tentatively excited. Next is the first of 3 Lady Night books that I am anticipating in the second half of the year. There have already been some night books that came out earlier this year, but the second half of the year has 3 that I am so much looking forward to. If you've been around for a while, you might know that I've been looking for Lady Night, really nightcore in general, but Lady Nights in particular. I've been looking for Lady Nights for years, and I found a few that I love, but I'm so excited to see more night books coming out this year. Some of them are pitched as romantasy, which I'm a little unsure about because I'm not really a romantasy reader, but I'm willing to give it a shot. First one we have in the lineup is The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino, and it says, love, loyalty, sacrifice. The Second Death of Locke is a devastatingly romantic epic fantasy about the undying bond between a knight and their mage, perfect for fans of Gideon the Ninth and the 6 Deaths of the Saint. I didn't love Gideon the Ninth, but I did love 6 Deaths of the Saint, so we'll see. And last in September is Shifter and Shadow by Sharon Shin, which is a novella that's 2.5 in the 12 Houses series. I have been just working my way through Sharon Shin's books this year. I finished the Elemental Blessing series in June, and I had some mixed feelings about that one, had some high highs and low lows with that series, but I do really enjoy her writing. I am going to be diving back into her 12 Houses series, which this is a part of, so I am very intrigued by there being a new release in the series, and we'll see, you know, we'll see where this series goes, because the last one was a little mixed. October has The Isle in the Silver Sea by Tasha Suri coming out, which is another Lady Night book, and this one probably has my favorite cover art of all of them. This is absolutely beautiful. I love this cover design. Really all of them have great covers. Like, whoever is doing the covers for these night books, they understood the assignment. Like, they are doing so good. All of these covers are fantastic. But this says that The Isle in the Silver Sea is a heart-shattering romantasy of sapphic longing, medieval folklore, and a love that spans the centuries. Once again, a little wary of something labeled romantasy, because that's not really my thing, but I really liked the Books of Amba duology by Tasha Suri, which I think is also technically a romantasy, although maybe not in this exactly the same way as some other things that are labeled romantasy. But I really liked that duology. Her Burning Kingdom series didn't really work for me as well, but I am hoping to love this because Lady Knights. Also in October, we have Hazelthornne by C.G. Drews, which C.G. Drews wrote Don't Let the Forest In, which I read last year, and I had such a good time reading that book. I just ate it up so fast. It just was like so addictive to read. Also, she does this like kind of nature body horror, which is something that I love. Like, I'm not a big horror reader, but a little bit of nature body horror is fantastic. And I think that this will be in a similar vein. I don't think it's connected at all, but I think it's in a similar vein. Let's see. So it says that C.G. Drews returns with another deeply unsettling and yet hauntingly beautiful tale of murder and botanical body horror. So that just sounds fantastic. Botanical body horror. Perfect. And then lastly in October is The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. Once again, another Lady Night book. I'm so excited. This is probably truly my most anticipated of the Night books, but also probably of all the releases in the second half of the year. So Alex E. Harrow wrote the short story The Six Deaths of the Saint, which I read last year and loved. And what I loved about it, one of the things I loved about it so much was that I feel like this is exactly the kind of thing that her writing is perfect for. These kind of vibes, like Alex E. Harrow's writing is just perfect for this type of story. And when I read Six Deaths of the Saint, like, I thought it was great as a short story and it worked really well in that format, but I also wanted more just because I loved it. And now she comes out with The Everlasting. And my understanding from, I think maybe like something she posted on online, is that The Everlasting is not like directly expanding on Six Deaths of the Saint, but Six Deaths of the Saint was kind of like a trial run for this, like a similar concept. So I think this is going to be very much in the same vein, very similar in a lot of ways, maybe not exactly the same, but I'm so excited for it. It says The Everlasting is a moving and genre-defying adventure through time as a reluctant Lady Knight and a not-so-heroic historian will fight through time and space to rewrite their tragic fates and finally reveal the truths hidden behind the greatest legend ever told. So excited. Also, this is one of the only Lady Knight books that is not described as romantasy, so that also makes me feel a little more like this one might work better for me than some of the others, but I am going to read the other ones with an open mind and give them a shot because I'm excited for Lady Knights. Okay, I need to stop like going on and on about Lady Knights. But my final release is in November, which is Daughter of the Other World by Shauna Lawless. This is the first book in like the next generation of the Gale Song series, which we already established. I love the Gale Song series. I love Celtic historical fantasy. I'm so excited about this, for this to like kick off the next generation. I think this takes place maybe like 100 years after the original trilogy, but some of the characters we follow are immortal, so we'll see some of those characters again, I'm sure. But I am so excited for this one as well. So those are my most anticipated releases for the second half of 2025. Are any of these on your most anticipated releases? Are there any anticipated releases that you think I would love that I didn't have on my list? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye.